Prison Diary, Prakash Narayan, The Death of Democracy, 21st July 1975. My world lies in a shambles all round me. I am afraid I shall not see it put together again in my lifetime. Maybe my nephews and nieces will see that. Maybe. Here was I trying to widen the horizons of our democracy, trying to do it mainly by involving the people more intimately and continuously in the processes of democracy. This in two ways. One, by creating some kind of machinery through which there could be a measure of consultation with the people in the setting up of candidates. Two, by providing a machinery, the same machinery as in one above would have done, through which the people could keep a watch on their representatives and demand good and honest performance from them. These were the two drops of essence that I wanted to distill out of all the clang and clamor of the Bihar movement. And here am I ending up with the death of democracy? Where have my calculations gone wrong? I almost said our calculations, but that would be wrong. I must bear the whole responsibility. I went wrong in assuming that a prime minister in a democracy would use all the normal and abnormal laws to defeat a peaceful democratic movement, but would not destroy democracy itself and substitute for it a totalitarian system. I could not believe that even if the prime minister wanted to do it, her senior colleagues and her party, which has had such high democratic traditions, would permit it. But the unbelievable has happened. One could have understood such a result if there had been a violent outbreak and there was fear of a violent takeover. What can the people do? The youth do to fight against corruption, unemployment, poverty? Wait quietly for the next general elections. But what if in the meantime the situation becomes intolerable? Then what are the people to do? Sit quietly and fold up their arms and silently bear their miseries? That would be Miss Gandhi's image of democracy, silence of the grave. And what if the elections themselves are neither free or nor fair? For that they must awaken and organize. I do not think in any democratic society the people have relied wholly and solely on elections to change their plight. Everywhere there have been strikes, protests, marches, sit-ins and sit-outs, etc. There is no need here to recount the steps taken by the Prime Minister to strangle democracy to death and clamp down her dictatorial regime. Here was the same Prime Minister who used to accuse time and again wanting us to destroy democracy and establish fascism. And here we see the same Prime Minister destroying democracy and establishing fascism herself in the name of the same democracy. She's saving democracy by murdering it with her own hands and burying the corpse deep down in the grave. Has she not declared that India cannot afford to go back to the pre-emergency state of license? License? She has the cheek to talk of license? Has she forgotten the Congress youth rally convened by her in Delhi on 9th August 1974? What vandalism and vulgarity were aboard? And does she remember All India People's March and Rally of 6th March 1975? The Inspector General of Police Delhi himself had said that there was no incident on that day. And what about the shameful affair in Calcutta on 2nd April 1975? In front of the University Institute Hall, where I was to address a meeting, and in complete contrast, does she remember that massive Calcutta March of June 5th of the same year? It was universally acclaimed as the most peaceful event of its kind in that sorely disturbed city. I do not know if public meetings processions, buns, all peaceful and orderly were or can ever be evidence of license. I wonder what all those ladies and gentlemen were saying now who used to tell me that I was the only hope for the country. Are they invoking curses on my head for bringing about this terrible doom? I should not be surprised. They may even be saying that hemmed in from all sides as Miss Gandhi was. She could not but act in the manner she has. But I hope there are some people, at least particularly among the young, who may still be loyal to me and to the cause I represented. There are the hope of the future. India will arise from the grave no matter how long it might take. 22nd July 1975. I had always believed that Miss Gandhi had no faith in democracy, that she was by inclination and conviction a dictator. My belief has tragically turned out to be true. I recall that when in an article or statement I had quoted Miss Gandhi's biographer, Miss Uma Vasudeva, as a proof of my belief, the poor author was made to explain away what she had written. But that did not change my mind. Where then did I go wrong? Events have shown that my mistake was in assuming that whatever Miss Gandhi's personal inclination, it would not be possible for her to become a dictator. First, I thought that the people would not allow it and she would have no courage to go ahead. Second, I thought the Congress party, as I wrote yesterday, would not let that happen. Well, events have proved me wrong. I still think that popular resistance will grow and gather strength. It will take time. At present, the people are dazed and being deprived of their leaders do not know what to do. But new leaders will be thrown up from amongst those who I mentioned yesterday. That is, an entirely new leadership will grow up and the opposition will continue. As for the Congress party, I do not understand its spinelessness. Of course, quite a number of congressmen are disguised communists. They will go with Miss Gandhi to the ultimate end. They have always been enemies of democracy. Behind them is the right CPI, Communist Party of India, and behind it is Soviet Russia. Russia has backed Miss Gandhi to the hilt because the farther Miss Gandhi advances on her present course, the more powerful an influence will Russia have over this country. A time may come when, having squeezed the juice out of Miss Gandhi, the Russians, through the CPI and their Trojan horses within the Congress, will dump her on the garbage heap of history and install in her place their own man. Maybe Miss Gandhi herself has become a stooge, but she loves power and would not like to be forced out of it. But a time will come, I believe, when her utility would have been exhausted and one dyed deeper in communist colors and a more willing tool would be considered desirable. At that point, Miss Gandhi would find herself helpless. I am not suggesting that all this is inevitably going to happen. Maybe the people would rise, the army may oppose and take over itself. There may be the other possibility.